Good morning everybody and welcome to today's Tourism and Events Queensland webinar for what Facebook ads can do for your business. My name is Susan and I'm one of the digital coaches here at Tourism and Events Queensland. So thank you for joining us today, and for anyone that had actually joined us on Tuesday, this is a repeat of that one. So we had some technical issues on Tuesday, so this is why we're holding this one again today. So thank you for coming along. So just so that you know, before we'll get started, I just want to talk to you about a couple of housekeeping issues or rules that we have. At the moment, you are all muted, so we do that because we get a lot of feedback through and it's a little bit hard to understand and who's talking and so forth. So just bear that in mind, that you are muted. So if you are wanting to type a question, or sorry, ask a question, you'll see on the right-hand side you have your panel. There's an area down there where it says questions, so you can simply type your question in, and what I will do is I will find you in the audience list and unmute you, and I can answer your question that way, or I can type the answer back in and respond to you that way, depending upon what the question is. So sometimes it could be one that's all good for the whole audience to hear, and sometimes it's also good for just maybe me responding to you directly. So you can do it that way, or a little bit below that is a chat area. So you would have seen my little welcome to today's webinar in the chat area, so you can simply go in there as well if you wanted to. So either way is quite fine, so it's totally up to you and how you would like to do it. So there are a couple of rules. So questions, I will take questions throughout the webinar if you like, and also at the end if we have time. So hopefully everything will run smoothly today and we won't have any issues. Also just letting you know that this is being recorded today, so if anyone needs to depart the webinar early, then don't worry, because you can still get the information at a later time, and we will let you know where that video will be housed and how you can access it, so you'll be advised of that as well. Okay, so first of all, what I will like to do is just make sure that everybody can hear me clearly. You have on your panel there as well, it looks like a little hand. So if you can just click on the hand, what it does is it tells me that you've raised your hand, and I can see that you can hear me nice and loudly and clearly, and that you haven't got any issues. And yes, I've got hands up from everyone, so thank you very much. So I'll put them all down so that I know that everybody is fine and ready to go. Okay, so let's get moving. So today, as we know, we're going to talk about Facebook and ads. We will cover some other topics prior to getting into the ads, just so that we can sort of set the scene and get things sorted. So of course we're going to talk about why Facebook and why is it so important, some benefits, the importance of a content strategy. Then we'll talk about ads and sponsored stories. Of course, none of it's going to work well without having in-quality content. How to influence your friends of those fans. We'll talk about smartphones very briefly, what's on the horizon for Facebook, and then of course a little bit about copyright. We're not going into it a lot, but just to give you some insights about copyright so that you can see what's happening with that. Right, let's move on. So why Facebook? So we all know that Facebook has got over 1 billion people connected, who are actually active monthly users now for Facebook. But the more important part of all of it is the connections. Now, there's more than 1 trillion connections out there. Now, that's a huge amount of people that you could potentially access. Obviously, you won't get to all of those trillion, but we want to get you to a partial or a part of those connections so that your Facebook page can really work for you and make some money from it. So that's what we want to connect. And just some other good stats there as well. We've got over 42 million pages or products or brands that are out there at the moment. That's a lot of pages. There's 552 million daily active users. So that's a lot of people to connect with on a daily basis. Like I said, though, you would connect with all of them, but a portion of that would be fantastic. We've got a daily upload of photos of 250 million, and that's huge. That's a lot of photo traffic that's happening out there. And then they're saying about 20 minutes is your average spend time on Facebook, but I think I'm a self-confessed social media addict, and I think I'm on just a little bit longer than that during the day. So, but obviously that changes from person to person. Some people might not only be on it for 20 minutes in a week, but others will be on it a lot more regularly in a day. So just some interesting stats there just to get the scene started for you today. Okay, in Australia, They're saying at the moment that we've got over half of our population is on Facebook. So that's pretty phenomenal for a country the size of us. So you can definitely see that Facebook for us, especially as branding and for products for like ours, it's something that I think it would be great to get in on if you haven't already got your Facebook page up and running. So, and you can clearly see there that the biggest market is between 18 to 34-year-olds, which, you know, that's not unusual and it's not surprising that that's the biggest market, and that will shift obviously as these people in this age bracket now get a little bit older. That'll shift obviously, and then we'll get a new incoming generation coming through the ranks as well. Then you can also see that female also are the biggest part of the market as compared to the men. Now that's not surprising either, as you can clearly see in other stats that are available out there, that it's the ladies of the families and the couples and so forth that usually make the decisions around travel and what we're going to do and what we're going to see. I know I'm that person in my family, and you'll probably find a lot of people that you connect with will be the same. And I'll show you an example of that a little bit later down the track and why this could be so useful for you. Excuse me. Okay, now hopefully this works. This is where we went and had some technical issues the other day. So let's hope that this works. So what I'll start to play it. Now if you can raise your hands once I've played it and you can hear it. If you don't hear it, don't raise your hand so that I can see the difference. So let's give this a go. It'll start in a second. So if you can hear it, can you please raise your hands? Okay. All right, so it looks like I'm not getting anyone raising their hand, so I'm not going to put you through it and make you watch it when it's not working. So what I can do, though, is when we get the upload recording of this whole webinar session, what we'll do is we'll provide the links for these videos for you as well, so that you can see what's going on and why these are good. These are just good little, this one in particular, this is one that Facebook Australia has created, and it just gives you some insider stats on who's who and what's going on and who's looking at Facebook and what's happening at the moment in Australia. So it's a great little video. It takes a couple of minutes, but I won't put you through it if you can't hear it. So we'll just move on. Okay, so the benefits. So we all hopefully are in a space at the moment on Facebook that we are seeing the benefits and we are getting this from your audience already. But just in case you're not, these are some of the things that have come up from Facebook that you could potentially be using it for. So obviously reputation management, it's a big tool for that. So people who recommend or write a recommendation on your page, or maybe they've sent your post and it's got that message up there, then of course that's where your reputation is going to come into play. Reviewing profiles to generate any new leads, so you can potentially do that. Branding obviously is a big factor for Facebook. The customer engagement, that's what we want, and that's what we're going to show you today, how you can build on that customer engagement through the ads and promoting and so forth. Driving traffic to your website, now that is really important. Your website still really is the hub of all your online activity. It should be the part where people can come to your site and then you can filter them outwards to your social media platforms, all the other way around. So you can be on Facebook and you're driving them back to your website just as much as what you're doing in reverse. So very important to drive that traffic still. So, you know, there's still that aspect of the coolness of being on Facebook as a brand. So there's still that out there, and people are very interested to see when they are following a brand and what you're doing to interact with them as an audience member. Then, of course, building those relationships and keeping those clients and interested so that they come back to your product. That's one of the most influential parts of Facebook that you could possibly have, is bringing those people back. And that's what we want to do. And hopefully with the ads and some other tips that we give you today, that will help you keep those people coming back. And then, of course, finding those new customers that you may not have at all ever discovered. And that's quite possible with the ads and the promoting tools and so forth. So you've got that option open to you. And I'll also give you a new product that Facebook brought out only about a month ago that you've got access to as well, which will even help you connect with more customers that you never thought you could. So watch this space for down the track into the webinar. Okay, so what we won't talk about today, and this is where I'm hoping that a lot of you are already at, that you've already got your Facebook page built. We're not talking about how to create it. We're not talking about your cover photo or anything else that's potentially available to you, because these are some of the basic things that I'm hoping that you're doing already. If you're not, we are here to help you with that if you wish. So you can always give us a call, or you can send us an email, or you can easily come and join us at one of our workshops across the region, wherever you may be. We're usually around at some point in the game, so you can come and join us for a full Facebook breakdown. So this is what we're not going to do today. So I'm hoping that you're already using a lot of these avenues for your page, okay? But happy to talk about that at another time. Okay, now Facebook. And really this goes for any social media platform. You really can't do Facebook without having some form of a strategy in place. Now, what I mean about this, it's not a 50-page document where you need to refer to it every second of the day, or every time something pops up you need to go back to it. It's just simply some dot points or some rules for your business that you can refer to on a regular basis, and you know what you're going to do. It's a plan of attack, basically. So, but without it, I think your Facebook page is not going to develop, and it's not really going to harness what you need to grab out of your audience without it. So hopefully today you can walk away and go, right, this is my next plan of attack for Facebook. And if you can do that, fantastic. It's going to help you tremendously. So to start with your strategy, you do need a goal. You need to have something as an end point. So is it to basically engage with your existing fan base, or are you wanting to gauge that new fan base, or both? It doesn't have to be one or the other, it can be both. But it's definitely something that you need to consider, and what that goal is. Now with your content, what is it that you want your audience to actually know about, or what is it, or how do you want to actually get to them in the first place? So the content is really important. So here it's, thinking about your local news. It might be images about your product or service. It might be videos that you've taken, and they could be very short, sharp, sweet videos, like 30 seconds for instance. They don't have to be professionally made. It could be a campaign that maybe you're driving, or it could even be a competition, but you do need to work out what sort of content that you want to put forward. Then of course with your fan generation, how are you actually going to do it? So are you wanting to drive them to your website, or are you wanting to drive them to Facebook, or whatever the case may be? How are you going to do it? So is it going to be through the ads? Are you going to promote your posts or offers or anything like that? How are you actually going to generate that fan? And then of course what you want them to do. So what the type of engagement you want to get out of it. So is it simply just a like on your post? It could be. Or do you want them to comment? Or obviously sharing is a big part, and sharing is where we get that virility factor. So that would be awesome if you could get them to share on your comment or your post or your photo, your video, whatever that happens to be. But you want them to interact, and you want them to engage with you. So the more you can do that, the better. And you'll find that having this strategy in place will make your job a lot easier. And also what will happen is everyone in your office, so for instance if you've got 4 or 5 people who have got access to your Facebook account as admins, then everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows that, for instance, you're going to be posting twice a week or 3 times a week, or whatever the case may be. These are the posts that you're going to be talking about. This is what you're going to, this is how you're going to put it out there. So it could be the ad, or the promote the offer, or anything like that. But at least then everybody's on the same page, and everybody understands exactly what you want out of this business and how you want your Facebook page to work. And that makes your life a lot easier. So if you're away, you don't have to fret. You don't have to worry about your business not being looked after, because you've got those guidelines in place and the strategy in place for your staff then to follow on. And you don't have to worry about it while you are away from the office. So it just makes your life a lot easier at the end of the day. Okay. So let's talk about ads. So why are we going into Facebook ads? So you probably would have all noticed, say within the last 6 months or so, that your engagement has reduced. So you're putting the posts out there, but people just aren't interacting with your page for whatever reason. Now, this is possible because, as you can imagine, if you're posting something right now, your fan base of, say, for instance, 500 people are not all going to be on their computers at that point in time that you've posted something. So of course you're not going to hit all your fans. So what the ads do is help you get to those to that audience that you're missing already. You might get a few people at that time, but what we want to do is push further. We want to get to all of them, and not even just to your fan base, but further than that. We want to get to the next lot of people that we want to connect with. So that's why. And we recently had a session here in Brisbane that Facebook had themselves, which is quite unusual. But we went to this session and he basically stood up on stage and he said, if you're getting less engagement from your page, then you're being less engaging. Now that's really hard to stomach in some instances, because you might be working your little heart out on Facebook and posting regularly and doing it, but you're still getting that engagement not as high. That's what he's basically saying. So that's why the ads have been brought in, and why promoting posts and so forth has been brought in. One of the simple things that you can do to ask your audience is, when they have liked your page, to tell them to make sure that that ticker box, as you can see on the screen, says tick shows in news feed. So then at least you are going to be appearing in that person's news feed anyway, but it's not going to stop them if they're not getting to their Facebook page until the evening after work, for instance, and you posted in the morning. So it's very unlikely that that particular person will go back through the whole days of Facebook and see what they've missed out. That's probably not going to happen. So you do need to either post regularly to get those extra people, or utilise the ads and the promoting the posts and so forth. So you do need to be a little bit strategic, and that's why your content strategy is very important, to actually make sure that you've got this in place and you know what's going to happen. Okay, so how do they work? So how do ads actually work? I love the Facebook ads, and you'll soon see why. So first of all, though, you've got to define the goal. What is it that you're wanting your Facebook ad to do? So is it simply to advertise your Facebook page itself? Or have you got an app on your page that you'd like to promote, or an event? Or you could even do your external website. So you can do any of these factors, it's not a problem. But you really do need to understand what and who and how you're going to get it out there in the first place. Now you'll see there's also a link down the bottom of the screen there too. The Facebook Ads Getting Started guide is fantastic. A lot of the information that I'm providing to you today is straight from that guide, because it is a very simple tool. It's a step-by-step process, and it shows you exactly what you need to do to create your Facebook ad. So when we do have this recording available for you, you'll be able to access that ad for you as well, or you can take a quick note of it now if you want to as well, but it will be up there on the recording. Okay, then the second step is to create that attractive ad. Now this is really important. Like any ad, you want people to be able to see it, like it straight away, and click on it, or whatever the call to action that you want them to do. So it needs to be nice and attractive. So key information is absolutely vital, and very brief, because you don't have much room. So you need to be very, very quick in that information and straight to the point. Also include a call to action. So it could be click here, or it could be call us, or it could be email us, or go to our website, or whatever it is, but you want them to do something with that ad. Then the image, it's very small. You don't have much room, so bear that in mind. So it needs to be something that's, again, that's going to attract the person's eye. So if you're an accommodation provider and you put a photo in there of your logo, that's not going to do anything. So what you want is that image to be, for instance, of maybe somebody lounging by the pool, or it could be one of your room shots, or it could be one of your outside external shots, or whatever the case may be. Something that's going to grab my attention straight away and go, oh, that looks really good, and then click on it or do it, whatever the call to action is. So it needs to be something that's very eye-catching. So I've got here a screenshot of, this is again straight out of their ads. This is for pizza, of course, but this is their example. So you can clearly see that the top ad is the good one, and you can see why. We've got a animated picture, but if it was a real pizza, you could have a picture of that. But it's a piece of pizza that we could potentially be eating ourselves, not a picture of Ray as part the bad ad down below. So we don't care about the person who's delivering the pizza. We're looking at doing or enticing someone with the product that we've got. So it's the pizza, which makes a hell of a lot more sense. Then, of course, you've got to the side of that short little sharp message. So the top one has got 2 for 1 deal. So straight away, it's given me that call to action going 2 for 1. Great, fantastic. I can ring up and get 2 pizzas for the price of 1, which is that great call to action. The one below it just says lots of choice of pizzas available. You know, that's nothing. That's not going to get me, and it's not going to grab my attention. So you can see the difference. So you could potentially do the same. So as I said before, with accommodation, for instance, if you're having a special, it could be a stay 4, I always get that mixed up. Stay 4, pay 3, for instance. Now that's eye-grabbing. So that's going to grab my attention straight away. Then, of course, we've got, if you're a tour company, it could be a 10% off discount, or it could be, you know, whatever the case may be. So think about potentially what you're wanting to provide to your audience. Okay, so you've got the ad, you've got your goal. So let's go to the next step. So step 3 is your target market. So who are they? Who are the people that you want to access with this ad? This is what I love about Facebook ads. This is how good it can actually get. So you can go right down and focus in on their location, where they work, what education they've had, their age, their gender, birthdays, their relationship status, or if they're married, or if they're a baby boomer, or whatever the case may be, even to the point of the likes and interests that they've specified in their profiles. Now, Facebook will not go and grab information from someone themselves. It's all the information has been provided by the person. So my personal profile, I've got my likes, I've got my interests, I've got the pages that I've liked, I've got people that I connect with, I've got interests, there's all that sort of thing in there. So Facebook don't get anything else from me from other than what I've provided. This is what I do like about it. So the fantastic part is, say for instance, I'll talk accommodation provider again, and you're on the Sunshine Coast and you're looking at introducing a new wedding package. So maybe that's your end goal, your end result that you'd like. So what you could do is you could start off going, right, my Facebook ad, I want it to go to Australia. Now that's a huge audience, as you can see. So we're nearly 12 million people on Facebook here in Australia. So that's a very big audience to potentially reach. Now, that is way too big. That's too much, because you're going to be wasting your money in that aspect. Okay, so let's drill that down. We might decide go Queensland. That's still 2.5 million people. That's still a lot of people to access, and a lot of people, and a lot of probably unwasted money that you know your budgets are tight enough as it is. You don't want to spend any additional money you don't need to. Let's drill it down further. Let's go, right, what about Brisbane? So we've got 1.5 million people there as well. So we're still way too high. So this is where Facebook ads is brilliant. This is where Google AdWords can't do. Let's go further. So we're going to go, let's go to women. As I was saying before, women are the major person, or the major purchasing person in the family generally. We're still sitting at 800,000. It's still a lot. Let's go and say, I want all the people who have said they've been engaged within the last year. 12,600 people. Now we're getting somewhere. Then we go and go, right, anyone who's actually said that they like the Sunshine Coast. So potentially what we've done is we've brought it right down to 720 valid qualified leads. Now you can't get any better than that in marketing. That is potentially fantastic, because you know those 720 people have said they're engaged, they're ladies, and they like the Sunshine Coast. So potentially what you've done is you've accessed people who are in the middle of setting up their wedding and giving them ideas of where they could potentially go and hold their wedding. So this is exactly what we want, and this is what we want our ad to do. So this is the beauty of Facebook, and this is where you can get the full potential of Facebook, especially with the ads. Okay. So from here, we've done our target market. Now we need to define our budget. So from here, you've got the choice. You've got a cost per click or a cost per impression. Now, there's no rule to say you have to do one over the other. I've had operators who have worked with both and had good results from both. So it could be something, if you're new to the Facebook ads, it could be something maybe to test on both sides of the fence. Maybe go and test a cost per click, see how that goes, and then go and test a cost per impression and see how that goes. It's totally up to you. The difference is, though, every time someone clicks on your ad, you're obviously going to get charged. With the impression, it's purely that. It's just your ad sitting in view of that particular audience member, and it's just sitting there. Now, you're charged with every time it's 1,000 impressions, you are charged. So you get a little bit more bang for your buck in that respect. But it's just a little bit of a difference. So you're not getting anyone to actually click through. It's purely an impression. Then you need to decide the daily budget and what your bid price is going to be. So the next screenshot, I've got there for you. You can see it's got account currency is Australian dollars, obviously. The country is Australia. The account time zone is Australia Sydney. Unfortunately, they haven't got Australia Brisbane or Australia Cairns or Whitsundays or anything like that. So I think the other choice is Perth, and I think the other choice is Melbourne. So Sydney's going to be the best bet for us until they opt in to put in some extras. Then we've got a new campaign. So this is up to you to call it whatever. That particular person will not see the campaign name. This is just for your benefit more than anything. Campaign budget. So in this case, we've got $10 Australian per day. So that is totally up to you. Facebook will drop in, once you get to this point, it will drop in a suggested amount. Now, you're best off to go with their suggested amounts, because if you bid underneath those pricings, what will happen is Facebook will go, well, there's not much point if you're not going to go with the suggested amount, because you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get to your audience. So you are best to go with the suggested amount, but you can still play with it if you want to. It's still purely up to you. What you've then got you've got the option of is, as you can see, the pricing underneath, optimize for clicks or optimize for impressions. Again, it's totally up to you which way you'd like to go. There's no hard and fast rule, you must do this or you must do the impressions, for instance. That is totally up to you. I've had, as I said to you before, I've had operators who have worked with both and had equal results from both, and I've had others who have worked with impressions, got great results, but not with clicks. So it's something that you would need to play with, and maybe one month you might decide to go with clicks, and then the next month you might decide to go with impressions and see which one works for you. Or it could be you do a combination of both all the time. It's totally up to you. You can do more than one ad at any one time. It's not restrictive, and you can turn it on and off at any time as well. Excuse me, so that is not a problem either. Now the bottom screenshot with the arrow, you have got the choice of, if you click on, sorry, I'll get rid of that. You have got the choice of going either with a run my campaign continuously starting today, so it'll just keep rolling over and just keep charging you, or if you untick that box, you'll see down the bottom you get an actual start and finish date. So you've got the option of going either with, maybe you've got a competition you want to run and you want to push that forward, so you might only have that running for 2 weeks, so you can put your ad in for 2 weeks, for instance. So that's totally up to you again, and it does work well. So at any time, as I was saying though, you can turn it on and off and stop clicks and impressions and so forth. So that's the good thing, much like Google AdWords. Then, of course, the last step, you need to monitor and optimize. So you really need to make sure that you're on top of it. You need to make sure that you're analyzing the data that's coming back. How many click-throughs are you getting? How many impressions are you getting? Is it working? Is the money that you're spending bringing you back some sort of result? So whether it be sales, whether it be more fans, more interaction on your page, whatever your goal was at the beginning, are you getting it? If you're not, you need to go back and look at it and retweak it maybe, or maybe stop it altogether and do a totally different ad. You need to do this, otherwise your money is just going to get wasted. So you need to make sure you're on top of this the whole time. And you can optimize your ad at any time and go in there and change it at any time, and hopefully that will then bring you a return on your investment back up to where you need it to be. Okay, so where do they appear? So you've got your ad in place. Where are they? So most of you probably have seen these. You've got on the right-hand side number 1 of the home page, which on your personal profiles you probably see this a lot. Then you've got in the news feed on your home page. I've noticed they're popping up a lot more regularly these days, so that's becoming a lot more used for Facebook ads. Then of course on the mobile you've got that option, and we all know that mobile is huge here in Australia, and a lot of people are using their mobiles more than anything else. The last one is your log out experience. So this one is not available to everybody, unfortunately. They have left this one, it is a little bit more spendy. They have left this one generally to bigger brands and bigger products and services, but it's not to say you couldn't ask the question and say, look, I want a log out experience, and see what they say, but you would have to contact Facebook directly for that. All the other options though are obviously you can use, just that log out experience. You may have come across those a couple of times when you've logged out of your Facebook page and you've seen the ad pop up, and generally so far I haven't seen any small to medium sized businesses in those log out experience. They've all been large brands. So, but like I said, not to say that you can't give it a go. Okay, just so that you know, as a consumer, you can see this is my Facebook ads from my personal profile. These are the ads that are popping up on mine. So for whatever reason, it looks like I need to lose some weight. I've got a lot of weight ads in there, so which is, you know, a little bit not nice, but anyway. But I can do what I want with these ads. So you can see I can hide them. I can hide them all at all the ads from that particular company if I want to, and I can say no, it's because I'm not interested, they're misleading, or you know, they're offensive, or whatever the case may be. So just to show you what happens from a consumer's perspective, what your ad will do and what I can potentially look at for ads. Now, another way is you can do a sponsored story. So let's say, for instance, you've had a post on your page that's getting some pretty good results. You might have had a few comments, you might have had a couple of shares, or a few likes, but you really want to push that message out there. Maybe it's an event that you want to hold, or maybe it's a new feature of your product or service that you really want people to know about. What you can do is you can create a sponsored story. So that will push it out to people even more so. And as it says, 80% of consumers say they're more likely to try new things based on a suggestion by a friend in social media, which is so true. You think about it, if you see someone who has liked a page or liked a comment or posted something about another brand or product, you would most likely end up following that page. So it's very, very true. So that's another possibility that you can do, and you can see there where it ends up as well. Again, in the news feed, on that right-hand side, or even on the mobile. So you've got that option as well. And the pricing structure is very similar to the ads itself. They're not far different. So you've got that option as well. So just again, this is just showing you where they end up. So this again is my personal page where those sponsored stories have ended up. So you can see where I've actually got, this is that social recommendation. Like I said to you before, people are more likely to follow something if it's been recommended by a friend. So these are all my friends who have either liked a page, or liked a sponsored story, or they've even commented on it, or they've shared it on. So you can clearly see that if I saw, for instance, the one about Atlantis Marcoola there up in the top right-hand side, I've got quite a number of friends who have liked it. So I'm going, that place must be pretty good, so I might go and see what they're about and then start following them as well. So that is perfect. That is exactly what we want to have our audience do with your ads and your sponsored stories. So the more you can generate that, the better. Now, I'm not going to play this one as well because I noticed before with the other video that you weren't getting the sound. But again, this is a great little video about Cathay Pacific. Yes, they've got a social media team of people, and yes, they probably got a budget that's a bit higher than majority of us. But it's a great example of how your ads and your campaign can potentially, or how far it can potentially take you. So again, in the link we'll show you that where this you can find this, and we'll play that. You can play that yourselves when you have the time, another time. So my apologies for that. So we'll see if we can fix the sound on videos before our next webinar. Okay, Now, it's all well and good to have all your ads and your sponsored stories and so forth, but we need to have quality content. We need to have this happening so that we can see what's going on. So 2 to 3 times a week posting is a great goal to start with. If you can do that, that is brilliant. If you can do more, even better. But 2 to 3 times at minimum, really, and need to be something that's visually engaging, so something that's going to grab me. They've done studies on something like 300,000 pages and looked at the posts, and the posts with video or photos get a lot more interaction and a lot more sharing and comments and likes, for instance, than just a standard comment on its own. So very important to have something in there if you can. Then of course your insights on your page are absolutely vital to see what's going on. If you haven't already used your insights on Facebook, I urge you to do that after you left today. Go and have a look. It tells you what posts are working. It tells you how many what sort of virility factor you've got in there. You can see how far your reach is going. It tells you everything, all the way down to the gender of the person, the age gap, the age group, and so forth. So it's fantastic. So really use your insights to your best advantage. Now, posting your high quality content. So we've got an item there called story arcs. Now, story arcs are really good because you're getting people from the get-go. So what they are, let's say, for instance, your business is going to be putting on an event 6 or 12 months down the track. Instead of just waiting till about 2 months out and starting talking about the event, I'll just talk about triathlons, for instance. So instead of waiting until right at that last moment to start really hammering home about the event, you could have started 12 months previously and started to speak about other things relating to the event. So you might start talking about the profiles of athletes. You might have some high-profile athletes, for instance, coming along, or you might have some sponsored partners that you can talk about. You might have some interesting stories about last year's triathlon that you can put out there, but you're building up the story and you're creating this arc. So in other words, you're building up to the event itself instead of leaving it to the last minute to go, bang, here's my event. So it's really good if you can start that story long before what's actually happening, and you can do that with anything. So say, for instance, again, if let's say you're a cruise operator and you're getting a new boat that's coming especially from the US and it's being built and it won't be available to you to start using until 12 months down the track. So you can do the same thing. You can start that story 12 months before and build it up until the boat is actually here and it's available to go cruising on. So you definitely, any business out there can generate these story arcs, and they're fantastic. And then, of course, highlighting anything that's most important about these stories. So you can use the ads features or the sponsored stories or anything, or you can simply just highlight in your actual timeline itself or pin to the top or any of the other functions that are free for that particular story arc that you're generating. I love this this quote from Nick from Facebook. He says, many lightweight interactions over time, which makes sense when you think about the story arc. So you're building and you're building, and it's the anticipation that you're trying to build with your audience. So if you can do that, you'll win them over. No problem whatsoever. It'll be fantastic. Okay. That's just an example that I wanted to put in. We had early last year, we had the 2 new cubs that were born at Dreamworld. We had these gorgeous little photos that were put up. The interaction was phenomenal. You can see there we had nearly 3,000 likes, we had 820 odd comments, and we had 632 shares. Now that is great virility and great interaction even without paying. But what we could have done if we wanted to is that we could have then promoted that story or created that sponsored story and even pushed it further if we wanted to. So you've got that ability. So anything that you've already got some great interaction on, you can push it that one step further. And that's exactly what we want to do. Now, we also want to be able to influence the friends of those fans. You may already have 500 fans, but we want to reach all their friends and so forth, almost like the old pyramid selling. We want to reach as many possible people as we can. So what we can do, and as you've probably seen, you can promote your posts. You do have to have 100 minimum, likes on your page already to be able to access this, and it's generally for posts that are very new. So generally within the last 3 days they're available, not much further than that. But some pages are different. I've noticed that they have different options for different pages. So it's, just have a look when you go back to your Facebook page, and you'll see at the bottom of your post you'll have the option to promote, and then it will come up with the pricings. Now the pricings differ from post to post, from page to page. So it just depends on how many people you want to access and how many people you want to reach. But it can work wonders just to get, you know, over the line for particular posts. Again, you might have an event or a special offer or something like that you want to put out there. So you might want to promote it to reach just that few extra people just to get your message out there. So that's one way. The other way is your Facebook offers. Again, you need to have here a minimum of 400 likes on your page to have access to this. So to set up an offer, the actual offer itself is free, but you will then need to put in a budget there to promote it as well. So the good thing about the offers is it's totally up to you how you want it to look and feel. So in this case, this is Enzo's. He had buy a 5-session stand-up paddleboarding pass for only $105, and you can save $45. So it expired, because when I copied this it had already expired, but he only put 35 offers out there. And that's totally up to you. You might decide to put 10, you might decide to put 100. It's totally up to you, and you can also put terms and conditions with it as well. So it could be that they have to print the offer and bring it with them into your office or into your place of business, whatever that might be. Or it could be that maybe you can even do it so that they go online and purchase whatever the offer is. So for instance, if you're an accommodation place, you could put an offer up there of a stay for pay 3 and actually send them to your website where they book it through your booking system. So you can do that. That's not a problem whatsoever. It's very good in that. It's very flexible on how you want to present that offer. So great thing to have if you've got access to it at this stage. Now, your custom audiences. This is the one I mentioned earlier. This is the new one that they released about, say, 4 or 5 weeks ago. This is fantastic. I personally haven't played with this one much, but I have spoken to the Facebook people, and they said it's a very good tool. What it can do, say for instance offline, in your office you have a database of 3,000 people. Now that database, you can connect with them if they have a Facebook account. So just imagine that. So if you've got 3,000 people on your offline database, there's a thing called a power editor, which I've got there. That power editor, now it's all behind the scenes. Facebook won't have access to this list. Nobody else will have access to this list. You don't even see it going on behind the scenes. What it does is when you're ready to put your ad out there, it connects your offline database to anyone who's on Facebook using their email, address, phone numbers, or their Facebook IDs, and then it puts the two together. So it might find, out of that 3,000 list, it might find 2,500 people on Facebook for you, which the potential of that is fantastic. You can't get much better than that. It is very private and confidential. No one keeps lists, or no one's privacy is infringed or anything like that. You've just got the ability to connect your ad with that offline database, which is a fantastic tool, especially if you've been around for a lot longer than what Facebook has, and you're trying to generate those fans on your page. So a great new tool that they've brought out. Another one, just to let you know, some of you probably already use it, but your smartphones have a separate app that you can use for Facebook. So, and it's only to manage your page. So at the moment you've probably got an app on there that connects your personal profile, and you've also got the ability to access your brand from that as well. But sometimes you might find that when you go to post on your brand, it's posting as you instead of the brand and so forth, and it just gets messy. So they created this app that's specifically for your page. And it also gives you the ability to send those view and reply private messages like like we've got there, and you can see the activity that's happening on your page, and you also get to see your insights as well. So if you're not in the office for a day and you're away somewhere, you've still got the ability to fully manage your page while you're out of your office. So this is really handy. So just go, when you go onto your smartphone, either Android or iPhone, you just go and search for Pages Manager, it's called, and look for that little flag, and that's the right one that you need. Very good tool to use. Now, other things that you've probably to watch out for, graph search, you probably saw the announcement for that about a month ago now, I think. Great things are going to come from this. So at the moment, it's more along the lines of it's a personal, currently, as it says, currently focused on people and so forth, but for you as a page, it still has huge potential. So things to make sure that your page is updated in your category and your subcategory, because I as a consumer can go in using this graph search, go, right, search for an accommodation place, I'll just use Atlantis that I used before, search for anyone who I know that stayed, or search for Atlantis Markula. So you're really wanting to make sure that all your categories are up to date and correct, that your address is correct, because people can search via, what can I see and do in Brisbane, for instance, and you want to be able to come up in that results. Your About section also, make sure that it's all up to date, you've got all your current information and details in there. Any photos that you've got in there, make sure you tag them or have your customers, your actual fan base tag themselves in it, so that if I come along as a consumer, go search for photos with Kate in them, it'll go and find all those photos with Kate in them and where they are appearing. So if she's on multiple pages, you want to be able to see where they, as a consumer, I want to be able to see where she is, and then potentially go and look at your page because she's on it. So just be aware of that. And then of course, if you haven't got your username in place already on Facebook, I'd get that on there straight away, because that again is a great way to have people find you. Okay, other things that are coming soon, Facebook gifts. Now they're only in the US at the moment, but they are heading our shores, and you may have already seen, I was in Big W just the other day and I noticed you can get a Facebook gift card already. Not quite the same way as what the US is using them, but they're heading our way now. So just be mindful of that. So people can actually purchase gifts for other people, which is great. So if my mum and dad were having a wedding anniversary, I could go onto your page, buy your product or service as a gift and send it on to them. So that's where that's coming. Facebook Wi-Fi, which is fantastic, is currently being tested in San Francisco in the States, and it will hit our shores soonish. They're not too sure yet, but they're still testing it, but that is coming as well. So watch this space for that. Page post targeting enhanced. So again, it's still in a bit of a testing phase, but this one you do have to have a minimum of 5,000 likes. So it's a fairly big base that you need to have to be able to utilise this. But you can see there on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, where it's got add targeting. You can have your post already targeting large amounts of audiences in an age bracket or a location or by their gender or relationship status. And that's not even having to pay for it. That's just targeting straight away from that post, which is great. So just watch that. That 5,000 likes will drop as the testing goes through and starts to become a lot more viable. So that will drop and get lower, but we're not too sure how long that will take at this stage. Copyright, should just mention about copyright. Because there's been big news lately about these issues where people have made some pretty bad mistakes. The best tip from that line, from that page at all that I can give you is if you don't own it or have permission to use it, then don't. Stay away. It can get you into a lot of trouble if you haven't got that permission in place. The other one is don't use Google for images. And a lot of people do it. I've been guilty of it, and a lot of other people have been guilty of it, where they go to Google, they search for an image, they use it, and then don't think of the copyright implications. So, and as it says, ignorance of the law is no defence. So you've got to be very, very careful with that. So just be mindful. And if you need to use images, go to one of these stock image places like iStock or Shutterstock or Getty Images. A lot of the images are free, and some of them you do have to pay for, but they're minimal pricing depending upon the image. So just bear that in mind because you don't want to get into trouble. Some Facebook resources for you, there's tons of them, and this will appear in the recording for you as well. The guidelines information, the ads create tool, and the Facebook for Business page that they've created is fantastic. If you can't find it in there, then there's something seriously wrong. So you definitely will find your answer in that business section of Facebook. It's great. It's a great tool. Then, of course, all the other additional resources that are available to you. The Tourism eKit number 43 is on Facebook. Probably not into the ad side of thing, but more of the basic level understanding Facebook. So if there's anyone out there who's a little bit more interested on pre-ads, then that's the one for you. Then, of course, we've got our other guides and so forth, and they're all free. They're fantastic. You can't go wrong. So great resources out there for you. Then, of course, there's us. So there's myself, Susan, and there's Mirko, who's the other digital coach, and Jane, who's the other digital coach, but she's here only a day a week. She mainly mans the phones for us on that day while we're in region. But we're here to help you, and we're here to provide the workshops, mentoring, over the phone or email, and all the webinars that we're providing for the next, I think we've got about 15 left now. Before the end of June. So there's lots of webinars that you can access. And don't forget, you sit in on three complete webinars and you're in the chance to win an iPad. How good is that? I deliver them, so I don't think I'd be able to get access to it, but that's okay. But you've got lots of avenues to reach us. So please, that's us. That's me. I'm the little short one. That's our phone number and email and our web page on our site. So please go and have a look at that. We will probably have links from that page for these recordings, so they will be available to you hopefully very, very soon. We just need to, oops, I've gone too far now. We just need to get those video recordings sorted for you and up and running. So what I will do, so at the moment, that's where we'll stand. So we've got about 8 or 10 minutes left of the webinar. So if anybody would like to ask any questions, please don't hesitate. Happy to answer them where we can. And we've got one here. I don't have a person's name against it. Where is it? Oh, David. Okay, so let me go look for you, David. And I'll unmute you. So can you hear me, David? David, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
So do you mind if I put your question out there to the group?
By all means, I'm struggling with this one.
Okay, so David's question is, apart from going into the help section, is there a book or manual on how to use Facebook? Basic stuff like liking a page, posting a photo, sharing posts, etc. I have not used Facebook before. Okay, yes there is. So have you actually even got a personal profile yourself, David?
No, I haven't. My partner has got one, and
okay.
We've got a business thing, so she does all of it, but she doesn't understand what some things do.
Okay.
So yeah, between the two of us, I need to be able to use it as well. So
yeah, no, that's okay. No, you've got a couple of options. So if you go to just Google and just type in Facebook help, you'll get the link that will come up and give you the Facebook help area, and you can just start reading from there if you wanted to. The other one is to go to that eKit tutorial that I mentioned earlier. That one gives a little bit about personal profiles and a little bit about business pages, so you can see from that. And that's on, if you went to our website as well, if you just did tq.com.au/eKit, that'll take you to those eKits, and you go to 43. And there's a video or a PDF document there that you can read. So that will give you some insight. Or your next bet is we can have a chat over the phone separately, or you can come to one of our workshops in region if we happen to be in your region, or email us. So you've got lots of options there to get Facebook under your belt.
Yeah, it's nice having something in front while you're on Facebook that you can refer back to
It
say,
is.
oh, this is what happens when I click this. But yeah,
Yeah, it is. It is. That's why that the Facebook guide, the Facebook help, is very good for that. So if you Google that and then have that open at the same time as when you're trying to create your page or when you're trying to learn something new, it'll pop up. They don't create a manual because things change too often,
yep,
as you can imagine.
okay. I've read, like all the books I've read on Facebook all seem to start at a level that you're supposed to know the basic stuff, and I just,
Okay.
yeah, without, yeah.
Well, as I said, happy for you to, we can sit on a phone and you can be in front of your Facebook page at the same time and we can do that.
Okay, I'll have a look at Google Help or the Google Facebook Help first and see how we go.
Yep, no problem. And then if you get really stuck, just give us a call.
Beautiful, thank you.
No problem. Okay, now, is there any other questions from the audience? Let me just check. If you have got a question, you can either type it in or you can put your hand up if you like. Now, is this another question? Let me just have a look here. This one is from Lisa. Let me just have a look at. Now, Lisa, I'll just find you in our attendance and I'll take you off mute as well. Can you hear me, Lisa?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Now, do you mind if I say this question out loud to the group?
Yep, sure.
Okay, so our market is primarily the 50 to 7-year-old market. How rapidly are they adapting to Facebook? Most of our guests on tours are still yet to join. Yep. Okay, so to answer the first part, the 50 to 70-year-old, they're actually saying at the moment, especially here in Australia, the over 50s are the highest new group that's coming onto Facebook. So that is definitely a market that's growing and it's getting better and better. And obviously as we all get older, that will shift. And people who are like the teens and our age and so forth, well, I'm not a teenager, but that's all going to shift. But at the moment, they're saying the highest group is the 50 plus, which is fantastic. And for the second part of your question, that they're not on Facebook yet, you can encourage that. I would actually do that. I would actually say to them, if you're not on Facebook, it's not hard. It takes you 2 minutes to go up there and create a new page. You could even go as far as if you wanted to, because the education side of Facebook is where a lot of people win new people and win over an audience because you're showing them, you're taking them the time. So what you could do is you could either show them how to do it, or you can even have a little flyer, for instance, of this is your step-by-step process, and a one-page flyer that will say this is how you do it. So when you go home, create your profile and then go like our page and say something about it. So you've got that ability, and people love to be taught new things. I was working with a caravan park up north, actually in Corumba, and we were up there and we talking about creating these little mini workshops for their guests, and they're loving it. Their guests come and stay, they do a little mini Facebook session about how to use it, how to create a profile. At the same time, they're generating a new audience for their park because they're getting them to like the page, they're showing them how to like it, how to comment to their page, how to post a photo to their page. So they're getting great results from that. Now, I'm not sure what your business is, Lisa. So it was a touring business, did you say?
Yeah, and we do extended tours.
Okay, so that might be a bit hard for you to actually do a workshop, but the flyer idea might be, might be a nice little to put in their packs or whatever it is that you give them.
Right.
So if you haven't got a page, this is how you do it. If you have got one, this is our page. Go and like it, leave a comment. So you're going to get both ends of the market there, hopefully.
Yeah. Thanks very much for that.
Does that help?
Very good, yeah.
Great,
I think we'll do the flyer idea.
Okay, yeah,
Thank
great,
you.
Wonderful. Okay, so anybody else with a question at all? I've got no hands up by the looks of it, and let me just make sure I haven't missed anyone's questions. No, it looks like there's no more questions and there's no more hands up. So Thank you very much for joining us today, and I do apologise for any that joined us on Tuesday for the technical issues that we had on Tuesday. But thank you for joining with us again today, and I hope this has given you some insights and some ideas about how you can work with Facebook and their ads and so forth, and how it can actually help you. And we've got another webinar next week. Oh, sorry, Fiona's got her hand up. Sorry, before we go any further, let me go and unmute Fiona. Sorry, Fiona, I just saw your hand up. Are you there, Fiona? No, Fiona? Can you hear me? I can't hear you if you're asking anything. Okay. No. So maybe we've lost Fiona. So Fiona, if you are there and you can hear me and you still want to have your question, just send us an email and we'll help you through the email if that helps. But on that, so thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate you coming along today. Our next webinar next Tuesday at 11 o'clock is on the legal risks of social media. We have a legal firm coming in to present that one for us, and that one is all about the legal aspects of the copyright and so forth, and trademarking and that sort of thing. So that's all going to be there for you. So I'd love to have you along for that one on Tuesday. So just go to our page, our website page there on the screen, and go and register for that one. And don't forget, you could be in the draw to win an iPad, which is pretty cool. And then check that page also if there's any workshop in your region as well, or if we're coming to your way for one-on-one mentoring sessions. So keep an eye out on that on there as well. So once again, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming along and taking the time. And if there's anything else we can help you with, please do not hesitate to give us a call or send us an email. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Have a great day.